If you're a runner and you're trying to decide between the Garmin Forerunner 255 and the newer models, stop. After 9 months of daily use, here's the reason this is the one that I'd still buy, even over the newer 265. And just so you know, this video is entirely unsponsored. Now, I could stand here and do a long piece to camera surrounded by lovely ambient lighting, but instead we're going to assess the 255 in its natural habitat, on a run. Before we head out, we need to plan an activity, and we can do that via the Garmin Connect app. The activity planner simply works. I can build the blocks, choose my target, and then sync it all to the watch. I can also set pacing strategies for PB attempts, easy as you like. This is fantastic for planning intense intervals or keeping your recovery runs really honest. Before we get to the park, we need to address the elephant in the room. The 255's younger sibling, the 265. The 265 has a bold AMOLED touchscreen display, music support, and a training readiness score. And I need none of that, especially when you consider at the moment the 265 is nearly twice the price of the 255 on Amazon. The training readiness score isn't really that important. I always have my phone for music, and the buttons are much easier to press on runs. And while we're at it, the heart rate sensor, the GPS, the altimeter, all the stuff you actually use is exactly the same as in the fancier models. And if you stick around to the end, I'll show you a way that you can use all that data and make it much, much more powerful. Anyway, enough chatter, let's get going. The build quality has surprised me. All these sensors are housed in a functional, if not beautiful, casing. I've worn this watch every day for the last 9 months, taking it off only for charging and showering, though it is waterproof. I've not been particularly precious with it, and so far the only damage has been a small scratch on the screen, which doesn't actually affect the usage in any way at all. The buttons make it very easy to use on runs. They're well positioned, they're sort of opposite the lugs, which makes it easy to squeeze them. Almost as easy to use, in fact, as the subscribe button down below. It's rubbery, so it kind of gets stuck on sleeves of jackets and things, and it's annoying. This little second band, while it does have a clever wee design which is supposed to lock it in place, consistently comes off, and actually twice it has come entirely off the strap. However, it's not really a deal breaker, and if it really does bother you, you can replace the strap very easily. The next point is something that's so important for a watch like this to get right. It's the battery, and I'm pleased to say they've nailed it. When it's fully charged, it can last 10 plus days. And what that means is that the friction cost of using the watch is really, really low. And for me, that's very, very important. Now that we've dealt with the physical design, let's have a look at the UI. There's a word which sums this up perfectly: functional. Now, let's be honest, it's not the most beautiful thing in the world, but it is very easy to read on runs. Not a particularly common occurrence in Scotland, but even on a bright day, it's easy to read, and you can customize the screens really well to fit all the data that you need, which is particularly handy if you're attempting some sort of challenge, such as my 1,000 calorie challenge I did the other day, which I'll link up one of the corners. You can also customize what they call glances, which give you insights into the various data the watch collects. You can also go into these glances for further information. Okay, as you can see, I finished the run, and it's now time to delve into Garmin Connect. And here I have some mixed feelings. Firstly, all the data you can get is fantastic. Pretty much any metric you would want is on here. It all syncs without issues, and much like the activity planner, it just sort of works. Daily suggested workouts, on the other hand, I'm not so sure about. When I first got the watch, it was just giving me tons and tons of zone 3 runs. Now zone 3 is not really hard enough to push you forwards and make you faster, but it's also not easy enough to serve as recoveries in this kind of unfortunate middle ground. As time went on, it did start to give me more variety in my runs, but I was still, even then, still not particularly convinced by the programming. What I found is infinitely better is to take the data that the watch will give you and feed that into ChatGPT, and then allow that to schedule the runs and sort of plan your workouts. That's yielded much better results for me. It's kind of beyond the scope of this video to explain exactly how I go about doing that. If you would like to know, leave a comment down below. But in any case, you still need the watch to get the data to get the best out of ChatGPT. So, final thoughts. Is the Forerunner 255 really the only running watch you actually need? In my opinion, yes. It does all the things you need it to do, and it does those things reliably and very, very well. And I would go honestly as far as to say it's probably been the best piece of equipment that I've used to improve my fitness over the last few years. Yes, some of the newer watches have extra add-ons and fancy screens and all the rest of it, but really, in my opinion, everything you need is here in the 255 at a much better price than those newer models. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.